I realized years ago that what makes one person feel loved does not make another person feel loved. And what makes you feel loved will not necessarily make your spouse feel loved.
And it's you and me, babe, whatever comes. Knowing bigger hands are holding ours, and the greatest days are ahead of us. Growing in love, learning to be a better us.
Hi there, welcome to A Better Us, and welcome to our home.
We are really excited about today's program because we know it's going to speak to all of us.
And speaking of speaking, what we really want you to do is watch your language.
Okay, what Ron's trying to say is we want you to discover your love language and your spouse's too.
That's a better way to put it.
A number of years ago, Dr. Chapman wrote a groundbreaking book called The 5 Love Languages. It has sold over 12 million copies just in English, and has been translated into 50 languages around the world.
So coming up, Dr. Chapman is going to summarize those 5 love languages for us.
And help you connect more intimately with your spouse as you learn to speak each other's language.
Yes. And we're going to chat about it in the kitchen with our kitchen couples, including CFL football great Mike Pinball Clemens and his wife Diane, and recording artist Dan McCauley and his wife Danielle.
Yeah, this is going to be good, so stay with us.
And watch your language.
I've been involved in counseling couples for over 40 years. And here's a scenario that happens in my office over and over again. The wife will say, "I just feel like he doesn't love me." And the husband will say, "I don't understand that. I do this and this and this. Why would you not feel loved?" I realized years ago that what makes one person feel loved does not make another person feel loved. And what makes you feel loved will not necessarily make your spouse feel loved. I realized eventually, looking over years of notes that I made, that when someone said in my office, "I feel like my spouse doesn't love me," the question was, what did they want? What were they complaining about? And their answers fell into 5 categories. I later called them the 5 love languages. The secret to keeping the love tank full is speaking the love language of your spouse. So I'm going to ask you a personal question. On a scale of 0 to 10, how full is your love tank? If you said anything less than 10, what I'm going to share with you today can be extremely helpful. I want to share with you the 5 love languages. One of those love languages is words of affirmation, using words to affirm the other person. You look nice in that outfit. One of the things I like about you, just simply looking for things you can affirm in the other person. There's an ancient Hebrew proverb that says life and death is in the power of the tongue. You can kill your spouse by the way you talk to them, or you can give them life. Words of affirmation. I encountered one lady who said to me, "Dr. Chapman, I know it would be good if I could give my husband some positive words, but to be honest with you, I can't think of anything good to say about the man." I said, "Well, does he ever take a shower?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "How often?" She said, "Well, every day." I said, "If I were you, I'd start there. You know, I appreciate you taking a shower, honey." There are men who don't. I've never met a man, never met a woman. You couldn't find something good to say about them. So for some people, this is their love language. And if you give them critical words, it's like a dagger in their heart. You know, ladies, you can give your husband life if you give him a positive comment. You can give him death if you give them a negative comment. And the same thing is true with the wife. If this is their love language, nothing is more important than words of affirmation. A second love language is gifts. It's universal to give gifts as an expression of love. My academic background before I studied counseling was anthropology. I did an undergrad and a master's degree in anthropology, the study of cultures. We have never discovered a culture where gift giving is not an expression of love. It's universal to give gifts. You see, the gift says, they were thinking about me. Look what they got for me. Now, the gifts do not have to be expensive. Haven't we always said it's the thought that counts? But I remind you, it's not the thought left in your head that counts. It's the gift that came out of the thought in your head. You know, during the summertime, you can get free flowers. You know, guys, Do what your kids do. Go out in the backyard and pick one. Every mother has received a dandelion from their children. I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting go pick a flower. If you don't have flowers in your yard, go to your neighbor's yard. But ask them, and they'll give you a flower. Or you could go to a funeral and ask the family if they would give you a rose. It doesn't have to be expensive. We really are thinking in terms of the other person. But what you want to do, if you discover that your spouse's love language is receiving gifts, you want to keep a list of the kind of things they say. Ooh, that's nice. Ooh, I'd like to have one of those. Keep a list, not just for special days. Certainly, you don't want to miss birthdays and anniversaries. But if this is their love language, you want to give gifts on non-important days. It's a powerful way of saying to them, I love you. In the second segment, I'm going to share the other 3 love languages with you. I want you to figure out what your love language is.
Well, great to hear from Dr. Gary Chapman, none other than the 5 love languages guy.
I think everybody knows about the 5 love languages. And we've got Mike and Diane, we've got Dan and Danielle. You guys, we've all actually taken the test to find out what our love languages are. And I just want to say that if you want to find out what your love languages are, just go to our website, abetterus.tv. The test is there for you. But in the meantime, guys, I think we got some insight into ourselves here, didn't we? Yeah.
We need to learn our spouse's love language, and that's the key.
And you know what? For us, it was kind of easier because we discovered that our primary love language is the same.
Yeah.
We're both words of affirmation. So that is really we encourage each other and we receive the encouragement back and forth. So that's a really good thing. Now going down the list, they're different, but that top one was the same. So for us,
Well, that's because you guys are both so awesome.
because you know we need to receive those words of affirmation.
We did need that today. Thank you, Dan.
I felt it. I sensed it. I sensed it.
So what about you guys?
We took the test and we're the same as you. We are both, our top love language was words of affirmation. And I thought that was interesting because our careers both revolve around words. I'm a writer, he's a songwriter.
You're a really good writer.
Thank you, honey.
I'm learning.
I detect a theme here. Okay.
And so that's very important for us, which I think we both knew, but it's better that we can focus on that now. And one thing I noted Dr. Chapman said, he said critical words can be like a dagger in the heart for people who need words of affirmation. So I took note of that because it hurts anyway when we're criticized or nitpicked, but for someone who needs that, and that's their top love language, it can be even more painful. So I
Totally
took that.
hurtful.
I'm sorry.
But that's true. That's
I'd like to say, though, you guys are equally awesome.
there you go.
Words of affirmation all around. So are you.
But on the flip side of that, just before we leave the words of affirmation thing, I know that if you do speak words of death, we're talking about speaking words of life and affirming, but if we speak words of death to our spouse, that not only does that put them down and steal the life out of them, but our kids hear that too. Our kids are affected by that too. I know I have a family member who that was the way he always spoke to his family, and it really it put his wife down. His kids really felt it, and I knew the child, intimately, and she would say, yeah, I don't feel like I'm, important. I know he loves me, but he doesn't speak love. And so really, we've got to watch that love, the way we speak love, even if it's not our top words of affirmation love language. We got to speak love because our kids are listening.
Dr. Chapman quoted the Bible on that words, the power of words, they can either give life or death. That's pretty strong language.
It's true.
And so we got to watch it. And
It's
as
an
you said,
important one.
especially if that words of affirmation is so important that we watch our tongues.
And I know Dr. Chapman actually has a book for parents to learn their children's love language as well.
Okay, so Mike and Diane.
Well, you know what?
Ours is coming.
Yeah, so
He hasn't covered ours yet.
so it is coming.
It's coming.
It's
and,
in the next
the
segment.
big reveal, and I'm not sure it reveals everything, but we'll talk about that later. But I guess one of the things that I want to say here is take the test, right? Learn your love language, and more importantly, the test isn't so important from your own standpoint, right? But from your spouse's standpoint. Understand what they love. Guys, this is the secret. Whatever you want is encoded in what she wants. If you can figure out what she wants, you can get what you want. Yeah, so even if it's selfish, guys, do it. Take the test. Understand her. ¿Cómo está usted? Bonjour, ¿cómo se va?
So the other language that Dr. Chapman talked about was receiving gifts. And so that really talks not so much about being materialistic, but about thinking that they're thinking about me. Oh, you got me a gift.
Even if it's something small.
Yeah, it's because you were thinking, but the important thing, I love when Dr. Chapman said, but move it from here. Like you can't just think about it. You've got to actually do it. If that's their love language, you got to do something about it. You've got to actually.
So it's not just the thought that counts.
No.
You actually got to carry out the thought with action.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. All right.
Well, this is good. This is good. So when we come back, we're going to discuss a few more of the love languages. But first, we've got to get to Dr. Chapman as he's highlighting the last three. And so there are 5. So we got to get them all.
All right, here we go.
The in-love experience only lasts for 2 years. But this kind of love, intentional love, expressed intentionally day by day, will keep emotional love alive in the marriage. And that's what all of us want.
Hi, we hope you're enjoying the show.
You know, our vision at A Better Us is to see every marriage become a loving union that creates a safe family haven, building a legacy of hope for future generations.
That's why we feel it's so important to invest in marriage relationships through producing a new episode of A Better Us every week.
Absolutely. If you feel as we do that marriages are worth investing in, then please consider joining us as a member of A Better Us with a monthly donation of $25.
You'll be making a big difference in lives and families, and we'll send you 2 of our special mugs, the mugs that you see our kitchen couples using each program.
Absolutely. And be sure to send us your mugshot selfie, and we'll post it on our Facebook page and on our website.
Simply visit abetterus.tv and click donate to set up your automatic monthly giving. And God bless you, and thank you so much for making this program possible and helping us strengthen marriages.
So we can all become a better us.
Almost everyone agrees that the deepest emotional need we have on the human plane is the need to feel loved by the significant people in our lives. If you're married, no relationship is more significant than that of your spouse. So learning how to love your spouse is extremely important. A few years ago, I wrote a book called The 5 Love Languages, which has now sold over 12 million copies in English and been translated in 50 languages around the world, which I think says to us, this is our deepest emotional need. In the first segment, I've shared 2 of those love languages, words of affirmation and gifts. In this segment, I want to share the other 3. Acts of service, doing something for the other person that you know they would like for you to do. In a marriage, that would be such things as cooking a meal, huge act of service. Incidentally, anyone out there still cook? Powerful way to express love. Washing dishes, vacuuming floors, getting white spots off the mirror, cleaning the toilet, washing the car, mowing the grass, shoveling the snow, changing the baby's diaper. Anything you know your spouse would like for you to do. Remember the old saying, actions speak louder than words? It's true if this is their love language. It's not true of everyone. But if this is their love language, then acts of service will speak louder than words to them. A 4th love language is quality time, giving the person your undivided attention. I do not mean sitting on the couch watching television. Someone else has your attention. I'm talking about sitting on the couch with the TV off, after this program's over, of course, and looking at each other and talking to each other. Do you have couches? What do you do with those things? Do you ever try sitting on the couch with the TV off, looking at each other and talking to each other? It may be strange at first. You may be surprised. Or taking a walk down the road, just the two of you, and talking to each other. Or going out to eat, assuming that you talk to each other. Have you noticed in a restaurant, you can almost always tell the difference between dating couples and married couples. Dating couples will look at each other and talk. Married couples sit there and eat. I want to challenge you. If this is the love language of your spouse, give them quality time. Number 5 is physical touch. We've long known the emotional power of physical touch. That's why we pick up babies and hold them and kiss them and cuddle them. Long before the baby understands the meaning of the word love, the baby feels love by physical touch. Now in marriage, I'm talking about such things as holding hands, kissing, embracing, the whole sexual part of marriage, arm around the shoulder. Riding down the road, you put your hand on their leg. Sitting around the house and they walk by and you trip them. I'm kidding on the last one, okay? Don't trip your spouse. Out of those 5 love languages, each of us has a primary love language. One of them will speak more deeply to us emotionally than the other 4. The key in marriage is learning the primary love language of your spouse and choosing to speak it on a regular basis. So I want to challenge you to think in terms of what really out of those 5 makes me feel love most deeply? Which is the one that I tend to speak to others? Because that probably is your primary love language. What you're doing for others is what you would like for them to do for you. So if you hear yourself always giving people affirming words, then words is probably what you want to receive. If you're always giving gifts to people, that's probably what you want to receive. Because we're expressing love to others in a way that would be meaningful to us. You learn your spouse's love language, you choose to speak that love language on a regular basis, and you will keep the love tank full. You see, the in-love experience only lasts for 2 years, but this kind of love, intentional love, expressed intentionally day by day, will keep emotional love alive in the marriage. And that's what all of us want, to feel loved and appreciated by our spouse.
Okay, Dr. Chapman, there we have the last 3 of the 5 love languages,
Yeah, okay.
and so we're learning here.
We are learning, so let's recap. Okay, so the first 2 that Dr. Chapman talked about were words of affirmation and receiving gifts. All right, and now these last 3 were acts of service, quality time, and physical touch. So these are so good. These are really good. So you guys, Mike and Diane, where were you on this?
Well, I just had a Oprah aha moment.
Okay.
Because when he was talking about you give what you want to receive, I was like, oh man, really all this time I've been doing it wrong? Because my top was acts of service. And that's what I do.
She's 1,000 miles an hour
all the
time.
time. Like, and he tells me, sit down, honey. Like, come, just leave. Don't clean the kitchen tonight. Just come and just sit.
I didn't say tonight.
All the
Yes.
time, right? But I'm always serving. I'm always moving. I'm always, because that's my love language. And when he said that, I was like, oh man. Okay.
So is that true?
Okay.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, 100%. Yes.
So now we're both similar in the that we both quality time is, so we got 2, we both have 2 that are at the top, right? So hers is acts of service,
Number 1.
and quality time.
Yes.
Mine is physical touch and quality time.
Okay.
So I just want her to sit down and touch me, right? Yeah. So and
I'm always, let
and
me
spend that
finish
quality
this.
and finish and experience that quality time. Now, interestingly enough, receiving gifts was at the bottom for both of us.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
I'm not convinced of that. So I'm not sure that the test was totally accurate.
Oh my gosh.
But you know, I think though, as time goes, just very quickly, words of affirmation is one of those things that we both are good at, and so it's a possibility that slid down the list because
It's automatic for
because
us.
we have it, right?
we
But
do it
but
all the
words are so important. Though I don't want to miss that.
Absolutely.
Well, Dr. Chapman talks about the primary and kind of a secondary love language, so we're all pretty much bilingual, I think, with those languages.
good.
But then there are other ones that it doesn't mean you don't practice the other ones,
Right.
but
Sure.
just kind of what's most important to you are those top ones. What are you guys?
And I did read where he said that during your life, your primary love language might change a bit depending on your life season. So, say for a new mother, it might be words of affirmation is the first, but because she's exhausted, acts of service has
Load
moved
that
up there.
dishwasher.
She needs the help. Exactly. So, it could shift around a little bit.
Yeah. What I wanted to know is spa and donuts. Are those love languages? For me, they are. He knows
That's
that.
number 6 and 7. Yeah.
It's funny that you guys said that, and I think we all were, that giving gifts or receiving gifts was the last. That was the bottom on ours too.
Yeah.
It was so that's interesting.
Yeah. I thought it's important to think about our extended family too, because I was thinking about my parents, in-law, all the people that love us, and we want to give gifts or do what they love too, and so they feel loved as well. Yeah.
And just to make a note, I do like gifts, babe.
Yes.
To be clear, it's not number 5, but I do like gifts. So I want to be clear on that.
Yes.
So it's important to understand our spouse's love language because they need to know that we actually do love them and value them. So we need to learn how to speak their language.
Yeah.
So that
So I've
we're
been wasting a whole bunch of time loaded in the dishwasher where I should just be sitting there spending time
no.
with you and
Oh,
telling
no.
you you're pretty.
You can load the dishwasher and tell me at the same time.
while you're telling
Well, because acts of service here was like last for you, so.
You know what? We all need all of them.
But you know what they say, Dan? They say actions speak louder than words. So if that's true, do you remember Dr. Lehman's book, Sex Begins in the Kitchen? You start helping out in around the kitchen, and then the
all
actions
Then
get all
physical
get-
touch, my number 2
physical
comes into
touch.
play at that point.
That's all I'm saying.
How can I help you, honey?
Exactly.
Someone who really loves tacos, this is what he said to kind of illustrate it.
Okay.
He said, for words of affirmation, you say, your tacos are delicious. Okay. Acts of service, I made you tacos.
Okay.
Receiving gifts, here's a taco.
Okay.
Quality time, let's go out for tacos together.
Okay. Okay.
And physical touch, let me hold you like a taco. How's that? There you go.
Slide right in.
Okay.
That's pretty nice.
That's cheesy.
Yeah.
That's good.
But the important thing is, as we were saying, learn your spouse's love language because
That's the bottom line.
then you could really know that that you're giving that kind of love that she needs. And it almost sounds like the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do to you, because what's important to you, you tend to do for your
and
spouse.
it helps us step outside of ourselves. Stop focusing on me and what do I need and what do I want and what's best for me. But instead of what does my spouse really need from me today and how are they expressing love the most? That's probably the way they need love the most. And that's what we need to focus on. That's the important thing.
Even if it's stepping out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And
Especially if it is.
Yeah.
Because then your spouse recognizes that and they appreciate that.
okay, well, don't go away. There is more, a better us coming up. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hey friends, Ron and Ann here. We're so glad you're with us at A Better Us, and we pray your marriage is blessed as you take this in.
Be sure and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and enjoy this video. When we first got married, somebody gave us a one-year Bible, and we thought, what a cool gift. We're going to read through the Bible in our first married year. And you know how that works, a little from the New Testament, a little bit from the Old Testament, and in a year's time, you've read through the whole Bible, right?
What a shared amazing thing.
I think we got through the first 6 chapters of Genesis before we gave up on this project. We were doing this just before we'd fall asleep, and we discovered we started to have little tiffs about who gets to read first, because that person could actually start to doze off while the other person was reading
Was
from
still
the New.
doing the fervent work,
Right.
yeah.
Not a couple of spiritual giants here. We were both in seminary at the time too, and we really discovered that that is not our style.
Yeah, and we thought it would draw us closer to God and each other, but it didn't because it didn't fit. And prayer can also be the same way.
Yeah, we weren't
Sometimes.
jiving on prayer either, and we were sending little messages, and just the whole idea of spiritual intimacy
Right.
wasn't falling into place for us. So Well, we're social scientists. We were in
Yes.
graduate school at the time. We thought, let's do a survey, and we began to survey church-going couples, asking two very simple questions. How satisfied are you with your level of spiritual intimacy, and how important is that to you? Now, when it comes to importance, people, what do you think they would say? 9 or 10. These are
Oh,
church-going
yeah.
couples.
They
We really
valued
think
it
this
like
is important.
us.
On average, what do you think they said? How content, how satisfied with their level of spiritual intimacy? Well, 3 or 4. Huge gap between what they want and what they have when it comes to spiritual intimacy. And our response personally was like, oh, at least we're not alone,
Yeah.
right?
This is somewhat normal, but it's not what we aspire to.
Right, so what can we do about that?
Yeah, and that's where we started seeking some mentoring from other couples. What are you guys doing that really does draw your spirits together?
And we discovered something really important. There's 3 essential things. No, we didn't find 3 essential things. That's what we were hoping for. Here's
Right.
what we discovered. Everybody has their own pathway
Right.
in learning to walk together with God in a way that's meaningful.
Yes.
So if you're struggling with spiritual intimacy in your own relationship, that's all right. Give it some time as you discover the sacred pathway for the two of you.
Well, it's been great hearing from Dr. Chapman today.
It's hard to find anyone who hasn't heard of his 5 love languages because they are so spot on.
Yeah. And understanding our spouse's love language and speaking it makes a huge difference in creating and maintaining a healthy, vibrant marriage.
And that's what we all want. Hopefully that kind of language speaking is a two-way conversation. But even if it isn't, if your spouse seems maybe distant, speaking their love language could spark the beginning of turning things around.
Perhaps you're at a point where you wonder if your marriage will ever get back to the freshness you once had. Don't give up. There is always hope, especially when you invite God into your relationship. He is the author of love, and He's really good at resurrecting things that appear dead.
If you'd like to pray with someone about what you're going through, you need to know that our prayer line is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's free.
Inviting God into your situation is the best place to start. And if we can help with that, please give us a call.
Thanks again for stopping by. And remember, with God, there is always hope to become a better us.
Hey friends, we really hope you're enjoying the marriage conversations here with A Better Us on our YouTube channel.
We have hundreds of more helpful marriage videos designed to give you hope and tools to make your marriage better.
You can see just a few options we think you might like here and here.
Enjoy! Oh, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here so you don't miss out on all the great marriage help we have coming your way soon.